Good evening, everyone. Welcome to TCS's Q3 results. We're going to start the proceeding now. I'll just request you to please keep your mobile phones on silent. We'll start the proceeding with Mr. Chandrasekaran talking about the company's performance. Sir, over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, friends. Want to welcome you all first for this brief on the Q3 numbers for TCS and wish you all a happy new year. Firstly, I think I'm very delighted to tell you that we've had another spectacular quarter. This quarter has seen a holistic performance across all parameters. I'll just elaborate from a growth perspective. We've had a volume growth of about 6.6%. In terms of rupee terms, we've grown 2.9%, and in terms of dollar growth, 6.4% again. If you look at the operating profits, we have posted a 103 basis point improvement in the margin and 8% sequential growth. In terms of net profits, we've had a sequential growth of 11% and a year-on-year growth of about 34%. In Indian GAAP terms, 126 basis point improvement in the operating profit and 176 basis point improvement in the net profit. So whether it is revenue, whether it's operating profits, whether it is net profits, we've had a spectacular quarter. Then coming to the deals, it has been a quarter where we have secured a lot of large deals. We closed 10 large deals, again spread across multiple verticals and multiple geographies. In terms of employee addition, again we added more than 12,000 associates, 12,854 associates during the quarter. Another quarter where we are seeing the ramp-ups happening. And the highlight is, in constant currency terms, we had all our geographies and all our industries delivering growth during the quarter. So it's not one-off. It's a holistic performance. Obviously, we are very delighted. And I'll probably take questions or pass it on to Mahal. No, we can go ahead with question answer. Better, no? Yeah.
So there isn't really any other change to the policy, and we continue to follow the approach that we said we would follow.
Could you also enumerate the say from the last quarter from the top 5 clients and the top 10 clients? What has been the change and what is the current standard?
I think in terms of the growth, it has come across the board. So there is no lopsided growth in one particular client. So it has been a holistic growth, whether it is a top 5, top 10, or the rest of the clients. It has been a holistic growth. So there is no distinguishing thing that I have to highlight there.
Revenue increase, decrease from top 5? What is the number?
Overall, from top 1, top 5, top 10 clients, we have seen a revenue increase.
Sir, and in terms of deal pipeline, North America and Europe are 2 areas that were the initial feelers were that these 2 areas are very significant and they would lead to a large amount of growth next 2 quarters. So are those 2 areas a growth generating region?
Yes, sir. Out of the 10 deals we closed, 7 came from North America. So obviously North America is doing very well, leading the recovery.
Maha, can you break down the margin magic for us, please? I mean, how have you managed it? What are the kickers really in?
You know, the margin story is, see, this quarter we have had the exchange issue. If you see both in terms of US dollar and pound sterling, which are the 2 major currencies of TCS, we have had a rupee appreciation to the extent of about 3%. The impact on margin there is negative 1.67%. And then we also improved the leverage, offshore leverage to some extent, nearly 1.2%. And that has given us a 17 basis point improvement as far as margin is concerned. Then we have got certain, all the other things put together, whether it is in terms of better cost management in relation to the revenue increase and so on. So the balance gives us, and then overall we have achieved a 1.03% improvement as far as margin is concerned.
SG&A, how much is that at right now, Maha?
SG&A is at 19.1% of the overall.
All right. Okay. Chandra, just one more question quickly. The key wins that has been listed in this press release, BFSI doesn't show, but one understands that a lot of, what kind of growth has BFSI witnessed? M&A deals in the US we are talking about. Why is it not showing in the key wins at all?
No, we have won in BFSI also. The 10 deals that we have announced, we have not listed all the deals there, but the 10 large deals includes deals from BFSI, deals from retail, deals from media, travel, government. So across the board, it's across the board performance. And in terms of the growth itself, BFSI has had a substantial volume growth. To be precise, the volume growth in BFSI is more than 7%. But at the same time, we have done a significant amount of offshoring in BFSI. So when you look at the number, some sectors will grow in volume, but not so much in revenue because we are probably accelerating the offshore movement in those sectors vis-a-vis others. So I think if you look at it any which way, is BFSI doing well? The answer is yes. Is all the sectors doing well? We are seeing recovery in other sectors.
Yeah, as far as this particular quarter is concerned, so what we are doing is we have announced 50% additional quarterly variable for our employees. And at the same time, what we are doing is we have announced the promotions for the 2009 promotions. But wage hike, as I said last time, that as far as this financial year is concerned, we had taken a decision at the beginning that there will not be any wage hike. But we are trying to do it through the quarterly variable route, what we have done for 2 consecutive quarters. Not only this quarter, we also did that in the last quarter as well. And the wage hike, we will worry about it in the next financial year, starting April, we'll see.
Hi, Chandra. Mehul Srivastava, Bloomberg News. How are you?
Hi, Mehul.
Really quick question. Last year, as your company was experiencing the downturn in Western Europe and America, there was a sense that you would move away from your dependence on North American geographies, on BFSI. But now if you look at the numbers, as you're saying, BFSI has added its volume to your output. Has that process worked out at all?
No, we did not say that. Okay, people ask us, will you be moving away from North America, will you be moving away from BFSI? Our response has always been, while North America is a large market for us, still at $3 billion, it's very small compared to the market potential. We will continue to focus on every market and every other industry segment so that we accelerate growth. But that doesn't mean that we will defocus on BFSI or North America. But even if you see this quarter, the performance has come across the board. If you see India has done more than 8% sequential growth this quarter. And we've seen a spectacular growth in Asia Pacific this quarter. We've seen growth in North America, we've seen growth in UK, we've seen growth in LATAM. So I think it's a holistic performance. That's what we like about the performance this quarter.
Hi Chandra, this is Sajid here from CNBC. Can you give us breakup of the volume growth 2.9% in terms of volume, pricing, currency, how it figured it, the entire breakup, and because your volume has grown by 6.6%, but your revenues have grown by only 2.9%.
The volume is about 6.57% or 6.6%. Pricing has been flat. Offshore movement has had a negative growth of about 121 basis points. And rupee has had an impact of 257 basis points. 246 basis points. So if you add it up, it is 200.
Also, a bit of explanation on the utilization rates. They have gone up to 77.1%. how much of do you expect to maintain this kind of utilization rate? And are you seeing traction in terms of orders which are coming in, especially from financial services sector? And will that mean that the training period which you had extended, you're going to compensate so that you use more employees into?
See, we have picked up volume, we picked up the growth momentum, and our operating teams and Ajoy's team have done a fantastic job of ramping up and improving the utilization. Our utilization, excluding trainees, has crossed 81%, and including trainees, it has crossed 77%. Usually, including trainees, we are comfortable 74, 75 to push it to 77 from a 72 level has been a fantastic job during the quarter. And also, if you see the recruitment, the total number of people we have recruited this quarter is much higher than what we projected. We've hired more than 4,854 people at the gross level, and at the net level, it's over 7,000 people. So it's been a good recruitment engine as well. Going forward, definitely we are recruiting and to make sure that we are fully prepared to address the growth.
Can you give us some outlook on the kind of recruitment you can foresee in Q4 and going forward into the campus selection, how many offers we have already given and how many offers you're going to honor in the next 3 quarters?
Okay. So as far as recruitment is for the next year, the next quarter is concerned, so there are 2 components. One is the trainees. We had given about 24,885 offers last year, and out of that, about 9,200 have already come into TCS. We have onboarded them in Q2 and Q3 put together. Bulk is in Q3, and we expect about 8,300, 8,500 more to join in Q4. So with that, given our joining ratio, that is, we would have onboarded everybody for whom we had given the offer. That is as far as the last year thing is concerned. And given the growth, the way it is going, we definitely anticipate hiring more laterals going forward in Q4 as well. If you look at our total lateral hiring as far as this particular quarter, that is Q3 is concerned, it's over 3,000. So it's been a good lateral hiring, and given the growth, we will continue to do that in Q4 as well. And as far as, so from training point of view, as I said, it's about 8,500 who will join in the next quarter. Next quarter, the lateral would be primarily dependent upon the business demand. So what we have done in this particular quarter, it would definitely be somewhere around the same region as far as the next quarter is concerned. This quarter was about close to 3,000 plus.
Hi, Deepali Gupta here from Dow Jones. Just wanted to check if this kind of volume growth is sustainable in upcoming times, and whether there is a clear trend in terms of pipeline for you going ahead.
Deepali, we don't give guidance, first of all, so I can't tell you whether this kind of volume is sustainable. But having said that, we closed a good number of deals, and we are pursuing at least 20 large deals more, and the pipeline looks quite good. So what will be the volume growth in a particular quarter, we cannot comment. But when you look at the future, I think we're quite positive.
Is this growth partly coming from the banks and some of the clients who had cancelled projects way back in 2008?
So as I said, it has been a holistic growth. It's just not the BFSI growth. BFSI has done extremely well, but we've done very well in telecom. We've done well in high tech. If you recall, the last 3 quarters, the summary, we have been very hesitant about telecom and manufacturing and high tech. We were able to turn that around in this quarter, even though we anticipated difficulties in those sectors during Q3 because of holidays and shutdowns and so on and so forth. Not a very significant growth, but all of them have delivered growth, which is the first positive news we want. We want each of our industries, each of our businesses to deliver growth, and that gives us momentum. So that's what has happened.
On the currency side, we've obviously been able to negate most of the impact from it this quarter. What's the outlook on it in the upcoming year or so? Is there?
I think it's very difficult to forecast. There are many people who have forecast and have gone wrong. So that the manner in which you do this is really be prepared for some amount of appreciation at this moment in time, which is what the trends seem to indicate, and take positions correspondingly with that. But beyond that, there is no point in essentially forecasting an exchange rate and then seeing and working on that basis.
One last question about the SME initiatives, that platform-based SME, etc., and a special unit that was set up for it. How's the progress on that going?
It's doing very well. The SME unit is doing very well, but still it is too small because at this time they are only doing the pilot projects. So I expect that all through this fiscal year they will take to prove the pilots and stabilize, etc. So there won't be any significant revenue upside during the next 12 months, but thereafter, yes.
Sir.
First question is, what is your present hedging position like? Because rupee saw a lot of appreciation in the past.
As I kept emphasizing, at this point in time, there is no hedging story as such. I mean, and we haven't really taken on very long-term positions and so on. We hedge for the next quarter. We make sure that we take adequate hedges and so on. As far as the next quarter is concerned, Q4, we are covered somewhere around 45-70.
And how has your other verticals like life sciences, energy and utilities, because they were the performance last quarter, so how has that performed? Because you have mentioned that everywhere you have got a positive response from all the verticals, but I wanted to know about that vertical.
In fact, energy and utilities has delivered a fantastic growth this quarter, among the highest in terms of verticals. Energy and utilities have delivered excellent growth. Life sciences and healthcare has also grown this quarter. A decent performance this quarter. I think we're giving you the breakup numbers, but both of those verticals have done very well, and energy and utilities are significantly done.
Any inorganic growth plan, any acquisitions on the radar?
I thought this is about Q3. So
still, like, anything? And what's the update on the passport project?
I think we don't specifically talk about the status of any project, but the project is progressing very well, and as soon as it's complete, it will go live shortly.
So when can we expect that?
I think you should just wait for the announcement from the government. Okay? So.
Yes. Okay, Karthik from Z.
Yeah.
Just one house rule. Can you just stick to 2 questions? We have a long list of people asking for questions, so stick to 2 questions, and then you can meet the management later. Thanks.
So, I mean, people who ask last are at a disadvantage. That's not fair. Okay. Couple of things. I just wanted to, what is the most important trend which you have seen in this quarter? You have spoken about holistic growth. So, I mean, are you including some of the troubled sectors which you spoke about last time, such as auto and manufacturing as well in this? And how much of the growth is coming from the M&A kind of work, which, I think you spoke about in the last quarter and the quarter before that as well?
I think the first message is that we have grown in all verticals, including those 3 troubled verticals which we talked about. There also we have delivered growth. The second is we see recovery happening in those sectors as well. So we see a broader recovery happening, and it is not restricted to the US. It is happening elsewhere as well. Or as the UK is growing, or as Asia Pacific is growing, emerging markets is growing. So everywhere we are seeing a recovery and a growth. In terms of the BFSI leads the volume rally with 7.3% volume growth, and that's very encouraging. And when you talk about M&A work, definitely M&A that happened within the BFSI sector is also driving growth, but that is not alone.
Ajoy, this question is for you. You spoke about, I think you made how many offers? 24,885 campus offers last year. And of which how many have already joined? In the last quarter, you said 9,000 have joined?
Totally 9,200.
Okay.
Some of that was in Q1.
Okay.
Majority of them have joined in Q2.
Okay.
And given our 70 to 71% kind of joining ratio, we anticipate about 8,300 as the additional number that would come in Q4. So with that, we would have completed our full, the people who would have got the offer from TCS,
Okay.
they would join. I think there was a question on the next year campus, and we have started our next year campus. We said we will start it in 8th semester, and December is the month when 8th semester started in most of the institutes. We have visited about 77 institutes at this point in time. Number of day one slots is pretty high, 96% plus, and we have released close to 5,500 offers so far, and we will continue that in the next quarter with our full, and by then we would complete our campus hiring process.
So would you like to give a figure for the full year? How much you intend to offer, how many offers on campus? Will it be in the same range as what you made last year?
We have an opportunity for another press conference.
I'm sure he'll have enough to share on that one as well.
At this stage, we are doing, I can tell you about what we have done so far. We are continuing to do the campuses as far as next quarter is concerned. And we'll be hiring trainees, and the talent acquisition process is going to be pretty aggressive given the kind of demand that we are seeing, given the kind of volume that we are seeing. So that is, so I'll restrict it to that.
Okay, and is there a change in terms of the hiring strategy as to focus more on laterals? And what is the color of the projects which are coming right now? Is it any different from the kind of projects which we were getting earlier in terms of more consulting, or which require a different skill set, not just in terms of technologies, but in the quality of manpower that you hire?
As far as the manpower side, maybe, sorry, let me tell you that, and then I'll give it to Chandra on the project side. See, our hiring process that we started last year, where we said we will be very conscious about the employee pyramid and things like that. That focus will continue. And as far as our training and L&D processes are concerned and developing the competencies internally, these are pretty strong. So we will definitely keep our percentages to the same as what we did last year as far as the trainee versus lateral mix is concerned. And
in terms of the type of work, again, it's holistic again. I think we get a lot of application development maintenance, but if you see this quarter results, we've gone up in enterprise solutions, we've gone up in consulting. But that doesn't mean that, it's a trend that they're going to go up more significantly than the rest. See, the consulting got a very huge hit. If you go back last 4 quarters, we had a huge hit. And last quarter when we made the results announcement in October, we said that from end of September we are seeing an uptick in consulting, and that is shown in this quarter results. And even if it picks up, in terms of the percentage of the overall size, it will still remain very small. So application development, application maintenance, assurance services, infrastructure is all doing well, and enterprise solutions, all of these sectors we expect to grow. Okay. Regarding the non-linear, we are still trying to get the platform wins. We have got a couple of wins during this quarter. We have not announced it as part of the large wins because they are pilot wins. So we still have to build scale. So we are making progress. We are getting the wins, but we want to deliver and build proof point on the scale up.
So you added 32 new clients. Can you give us a breakup of sectors?
We don't give that information, but they are all large companies.
Sectors?
Yeah, we don't give that information, but basically the 32 customers come across multiple sectors, and they are all large companies.
So with the rising market, how do you see attrition rate scenario?
the attrition
within TCS and industry?
The attrition as far as TCS is concerned, we have been maintaining our attrition stabilized at about 11.4, 11.5%, so that's where we are. And that is due to a number of factors, including the kind of work that people do and a number of HR interventions and things like that. And we expect that the attrition, we will be able to hold it at that level.
Okay. Rachna.
Hi, congratulations on numbers. First, could you give us some clarity on, the budgets part? What are your clients saying going ahead? Are you seeing the budgets opening up? If at all they are, what kind of they would be like? Are they going to be flattish or, much more? Also, have you seen the pricing pressure gone down? Because you said the pricing was flattish. So what are you expecting like?
I think on the budgets, some of our customers have finalized the budget, some are still closing it. But, it's going to be a variation. Some clients are going to stay flat, some clients are going to slightly increase. But in either case, the important thing is we are trying to do offshoring more. So our business model is proving to be of value. The second thing is they are going to try and get more value out of the run the business kind of projects so that they can find some money for changing the business kind of projects. So these are the two trends we are seeing, and pricing has remained flat, and I hope it remains flat. I don't think that's going to change.
So do you say that the cost and cost efficiency remains the primary target still with the clients?
One of the drivers, but also we are seeing the fact that you are seeing increase in enterprise solutions consulting also is a lead indicator for you to say that there will be discretionary spend coming in. But we need to wait one more quarter before we can.
Just one question for Ajoy. You had said some quarters back that you want to maintain the ratio of 60-40, where 60 is the fresher and 40 would be the laterals. So do we say that you still continue with that kind of strategy, or you want to shift now? What is it like?
I just mentioned that our strategy will remain the same from an employee pyramid point of view. And that time, if you really go back and see, we had done more than 60% as trainees. So we would like to keep it at 60-40 kind of a ratio. Shivani.
Hi. Okay.
Quickly on the India numbers, 8% sequential growth. So what's driving this growth? Is it again just the government sector or the enterprise focuses?
No, it's enterprise, government, banking sector.
But do we see this? Do we continue to see this kind of growth?
We have always maintained that India has got lots of opportunities, but then the volatility in revenues continues to be a challenge. So we are trying our best to make sure that we get the business mix right. I would say that we are making good progress, and we are not at a point I can say that we have got the business mix right and then it's going to be very predictable.
Right.
But we are seeing growth. We're going to see growth.
Right. You said that offshoring is will continue to grow. Now you're also trying to increase your on-site or onshore presence. US is last quarter the numbers that we heard was 250. So what's the strategy there? What are the numbers that we can expect in the next quarter?
Part of our global delivery network will continue to invest and continue to grow in other markets. So there is going to be nearshore growth in countries like Latin America, and there is going to be offshore growth in India, and there is also going to be growth in the local centers like, but we'll manage the mix carefully so that the overall offshore mix continues to grow. So that's something that we will do. So it's a very careful. I think you've got enough numbers for stories tomorrow.
Chandra, I have 2 questions.
51% is offshore, and then is distributed between the delivery centers abroad as well as on-site.
Sorry.
2 questions for you, Chandra. You just said that, in fact, last quarter also you said that manufacturing and telecom seems to be a little troublesome, and even in Q3 it happened. So going forward, do you see that easing out, or will that pain over there continue? Second being, I know you've already spoken about deal pipeline, but if you can just clarify it once again for me, how is it really looking like going forward from here? Is it taking longer again for clients to close the deals, or is it back to 3 to 6 months sort of a cycle?
First one on manufacturing and telecom, now we are seeing the recovery happening. Though you cannot expect huge volume growth in these two sectors, but we anticipate growth going forward from the current levels. In terms of the deal pipeline, it's quite healthy, and we are again seeing normalcy returning, where it's becoming business as usual, and the deal closures happening at the pace which we are originally used to before the crisis period. So these are all positive things, but you still need to watch. You have to take it a quarter at a time. It's going to be getting better a quarter at a time, but it's moving in the right direction.
Also, you said
You're posting 20 large sheets, so how do you define large sheet?
Well, it's a standard definition which we have always used. They are deals which are substantial revenue and gives us revenues for multiple quarters, sequential basis, for a few years at least.
Shantu?
Yeah.
Multi-year, but multi-million, and every year, but multi-year.
Good evening, sir. My question is about the Europe. How do you see, in last quarter, the Europe, particularly the continental Europe and the Western Europe, how the growth has taken place? Can you throw some light on that? And
so growth on the Eurozone?
Yeah, Europe. He's talking
See, Europe is, of all the regions, I think it's slow to recover, but there also we have in absolute numbers, we have done well. But again, the growth has been slower in Europe compared to US or UK or some other markets. So Europe is just beginning to show growth, but it is going to take some.
But is it uniform across, continental and the western part?
I'm talking about the continental Europe.
Okay.
Western Europe.
Okay. And the second question is to Maha. Out of this other income, how much has come from the hedging gain? Can you give the breakup?
No, we have had a hedging loss of this quarter of 35 crores of rupees as against a loss of about 113 crores last quarter. So that is the reduction. We had been specifically mentioning about the expected losses, and we are in the same ballpark.
Okay.
In fact, it is a little lower than what I had talked about, in the last quarter.
Okay. And one last question, probably. Where do you see the effective tax rate to be in FY11? Because of this STBI factor.
FY11 we need to really look at. We had been maintaining that the tax rate would be going up to about 18% next year, and thereafter jumping up. So we'll calculate that, and we'll work, and make some announcement next time.
Okay, Richard.
Hello, hi. This is for Mr. Chandrasekaran. Congratulations on the UK government contracts you got. I'm interested, how do you expect the budget cuts expected to the whole UK government sector, and also, I suppose, government in other countries, to affect prospects for government going forward, government work?
I think the overall spend in the government sector is very large. And even if there is going to be a budget cut, still the addressable pie for us in the government sector is substantially large. And our presence in the government sector outside of India is low. So given that, I think that the situation is going to be positive for us to be able to attract business, as long as we can craft the right solution and the right value proposition.
Thanks. Yeah. Erica.
Hi, thanks for taking my questions. I have two questions. First, you've emphasized that you've seen broad-based growth in all of your segments, but your revenues have gone down year over year in manufacturing and telecom, if I'm reading your numbers correctly. So how then are you measuring business growth, if not by revenues?
See, we are seeing revenues. We are measuring only by revenues. We are seeing the growth on a sequential basis. See, if you really see, this year has been a very unique year. The last 4 quarters or 5, 6 quarters have been tough quarters. So when I say the business growth across all sectors on a sequential basis, from the last quarter to this quarter, we have seen a sequential growth.
Is it possible to get those sequential numbers?
It's there in our deck. It's there on the website. You can take it.
Sorry?
It's there in our deck. It's there in the information we can give you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks. And then
I don't want to read out.
Okay,
but you can take it
okay. My second question is about the United States, and if you could just tell us what's going on with U.S. hiring and whether you see an increase or decrease in political anxiety about outsourcing, and what steps you're taking to combat that political anxiety. Thanks.
See, as far as hiring is concerned in U.S., what we said for Cincinnati Development Center, we would be doing hiring, and we have done the numbers that we wanted, and in Q4 again, based on the business demand, we expect that we will be doing hiring in U.S. So the hiring in U.S. continues and it's been positive. As far as net addition is concerned in U.S., we have been pretty positive. and growing there as far as the headcounts are concerned in US. Now from the political, pardon?
Can you quantify the net addition in the US?
See, net addition in US in this particular quarter will be somewhere around 75-80 is the number that we would have added net. But so that's the number that we would have for this particular quarter. As far as the political situations and the visa and those kind of situations that you're asking about, I think the things are pretty much from our visa front, we are pretty much under control, and from political point of view, yes, as far as the bills are concerned, these will be debated in the houses as far as the next from January onwards. These debates will go on. So at this stage, we are not very concerned, but we are pretty watchful about how things are shaping up. But at the same time, our on-site hiring and the lateral recruitment at on-site is on track.
The comprehensive immigration bill will determine what happens. So let's have a look at it.
Yeah.
There is going to be a comprehensive immigration bill. So first let's look at it, then we can react. Yeah.
Okay. Rohan.
Hi, Rohan here with Bloomberg View TV. Question for Ajoy. When you spoke on the focus on laterals going ahead and in terms of how the business is panning out, that's why probably the focus on laterals. In terms of where all these people are going to come from, I mean, the poaching has already been rampant. You know, is that going to be continued? Are we going to see that situation continue for a while? And how will that impact again salaries and fresh look at packages?
Hiring, as I said, next quarter will be about 8,300 will be the fresh trainees who will come in. And after that, we will be doing laterals. Laterals, what we did in this particular quarter was close to 3,000. I said it will be something similar as far as the next quarter is concerned. So our focus on the employee pyramid, that definitely remains. Okay, and given the business demand, with that pyramid, we are going to deliver the business. Now, as far as laterals are concerned, we have them from the market. Every year, the numbers that we have is the same numbers that we are hiring in these 2 quarters. And we are able to attract the talent that we get. But it's not a question of poaching. Poaching is when you are cold calling, when you are after somebody. It's a different situation altogether. It's the kind of work that we have to offer, the kind of roles that we have to give. And based on that, we are able to attract the talent that we need. So it's not a poaching from that angle. It's not really called. It's not poaching from that point of view.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
We'll request the television folks to come ahead for the Common TV bite. And all the other questions that you have, you can always meet the senior management after the TV bites. Thank you.
One of the